Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Hameed back again with the Muslim Empowerment Institute. So here we go again, brothers and sisters. We had another year of moonsighting fiascos. We reached the 29th day of Sha'ban, which is the name of the month preceding the month of Ramadan, just like February is the month preceding March. And you're wondering when Ramadan is going to begin. Is it going to come in the next day or the day after that? Well, Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said to fast when we see the moon and to break our fast when we see the moon. And if it's cloudy, then complete the month with 30 days. Very simple, right? So we would expect to receive a notification after Maghrib, after sunset, on the 29th day of Sha'ban, with someone from our area informing us that the moon has been sighted. So thus we would make the intention to fast the whole month and begin the actual abstaining from food and drink and whatnot the next day. Or if the moon was not sighted in our area, we would complete 30 days of the month of Sha'ban, just like the Prophet said. So again, if we see the moon on the 29th day of the month, the next day will be the first day of the new month. And if we do not see the moon, the next day will be the 30th day of the current month, and the day after that will be the first day of the new month. This is how Muslims have been doing it for over 1400 years, all the way up until some Muslim doctors and engineers started building masjids in America. Now, the Fiqh Council of North America, which is a very influential Muslim organization comprised of Muslims originating throughout the Muslim world, ruled in favor some years ago that they would adopt the astronomical calculations to determine the Islamic months, which is based on a lunar calendar, therefore disregarding the sunnah of physically sighting the moon with the naked eye, the way the Prophet did. Now, another innovation is for people who are not living in Saudi Arabia to determine the interest of the months on the lunar calendar based on Saudi Arabia's moon sighting and not their own. Some more foolishness, right? Now, did the ulama, the Islamic scholars in Saudi, tell people who don't live in Saudi to base the interest of the months for countries thousands of miles away from their own country based on their alleged moon sighting? And as a matter of fact, they even say, follow your own local moon sighting in your own country and region. So immigrants in America are not following the moon sighting in other countries because the Saudis told them to. They're following the moon sightings of other countries, many of them, not all of them, because their bodies are in America, but their minds are overseas. Now look how in the Quran, how Allah tells us to observe His creation. You know, the ants, the bee, the camel, the heavens and the earth, all these things. And Muslims would agree and say, yeah, we should observe these things, you know. But then, when we tell them we should sight the moon for Ramadan, they say we don't need to do that anymore. So why mention anything about moon sighting if you ain't sighting the moon, right? But these days, you'll receive an email, text notification, or just look on the internet in the morning time. You know, even sunset hasn't even arrived yet, and someone's telling you that Muslims will begin the fast on March 11th, for example, like they did this year, based off of Quran and science and not Quran and Sunnah. Sunnah meaning the way of the Prophet Muhammad. And there's no indication in Islam that despite the arrival of technological advancements, that we have the authority to abandon the Sunnah in preference to following the calculations of astronomers, even if they're Muslim. And even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that astronomers would develop their science to the point to be able to calculate the positions of the stars. And the argument that if we ever want to have a recognized Muslim holiday in America, the only way we can do this is by using calculations so we can tell politicians what specific day we need to be off just because they don't believe in this whole moonsighting business, right? So they want to let the politicians know that, you know, here are all the days to the day of judgment that Ramadan is going to begin. Now, what's the real reason why these Muslims are doing this? Is it because it coincides with whom they deem are more civilized than they are? And what shall my new Muslims do? Now, some of my teachers said there's never an excuse to abandon the way of the Prophet Muhammad, and this can be one of those instances. And some of my teachers said, even though calculations are incorrect for finding out when Ramadan begins, just go by what your local community leadership decides. So for this particular year, I told my peeps that there was no reliable moon sighting in America, and it was clear skies all over the country on the 29th of Sha'ban. So someone should have saw the moon in America. However, many of our brothers and sisters from overseas will fast based on calculations or whatever their cousins are doing back home. Now notice none of these people are using the prayer times from back home to pray in America, because if they did that, they would probably, be praying the Isha prayer during the Dhuhr time or something like this. And of course that doesn't work. So just like you have to pray according to your local prayer times or where you are at present, and just like prior to people possessing the knowledge of astronomical calculations, which is often incorrect, where people try to estimate the movements of God's creation, you still have to go out and sight the moon. This is very important. Now, it's better to follow the scholars of Islam in religious matters, just like you don't take your broken down car to an eye surgeon to fix it for you. Nor do you go to a car mechanic if you experience vision issues. Now, the Prophet advised in this farewell sermon, beware of the shaitan for the safety of your deen. He's lost all hope that he'll be able to lead you astray in big things, so beware of following him in the small things. And also it's a statement from Abdullah ibn Umar, one of the Prophet's companions, who is reported to have said, every innovation is misguidance, even if the people see it as something good. And Abdullah ibn Umar was one of the strictest in implementing the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in closing, brothers and sisters, in this world, which we call the dunya, there are things that may happen to us that may be outside of our control, and we want God's help with these issues. You can't find a job, can't find a good husband or a wife, bad stuff keeps happening, health issues, etc. Right? Instead of us trying to work to fix stuff on the outside and blame this person or that person for our plight and worrying about things that you can't control, we need to do the work to fix the stuff on the inside first and foremost. Why? Because Allah doesn't change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. And this is when the change occurs. When you fix you, then Allah will fix your situation. Do the work and the rest will come naturally. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.